I'm Darian Gray of Who Dat Dish, and unfortunately, I had to watch that too.
John Hendricks, New Orleans football, and that was about as dookie as it gets, y'all.
This is former Saints wide receiver Lance Moore, and I have to laugh to get over the sadness after watching that game.
It's the Saints Squad. Everything New Orleans Saints, every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from down in the Big Easy, the way only Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Saints Squad Show, starting now.
What's going on, Who Dat Nation? Welcome back to the Saints Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every Sunday and Wednesday. We have a unique group of experts here ready to bring you a fun and informative show on everything New Orleans Saints. Today, we're going to be diving into what about the trade deadline? Because it doesn't feel like there's many players of the game. Also, the defense made it way too easy for Los Angeles. Does Tyler Shough's debut meet up to the expectations? And of course, our initial reactions. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm here with John. I'm here with Lance. I'm not Dylan, but I am wearing a hat in honor of him. I told him I would do it for him. Guys, I think it's going to be a lot of laughing today because something has to get us through after those 60 minutes. I want to get some initial reactions, and I'll start off with you, John.
You hold the ball for 16 minutes and 7 seconds. You aren't winning football games. I don't care if it was the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if it's Josh Allen and the Bills. You just can't win football games like this, right? And I think, it's going to overshadow because obviously Tyler Shough probably should be the storyline that we talk about. But
right,
the Rams had, 5 drives of 10 plays or more. The defense couldn't stop him. Matthew Stafford looked like elite Matthew Stafford, which he's slept on, I think, in a lot of, in my opinion. But they couldn't stop the Rams. They missed a lot of tackles. The offensive line couldn't block anybody. I mean, this was just a tough watch. Like I keep thinking, I thought last week against the Bucs was like rock bottom, but now it feels like you're getting lower and lower and lower. And I just don't know where the bottom is at this point because that performance was atrocious. I don't even know that was a NFL performance. It was just so bad watching it. And there were a good few moments, but you're just never in this game. Like you never were in this game. And that's the thing for the Saints. And that's a common theme for them this season. It's been last season, the season before. And the trade deadline's right here. We got a lot to talk about here, but there's got to be some bigger changes made here at some point for this team because this path of saying that we're close, they're not close in any direction other than close to losing because that's where it looks like they're going for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was sitting here watching the game with my friend, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And it was just the first quarter. It was just the first quarter. And that's what it felt like. I'm not okay. Like, man, I'm tired, and I really was tired, but I wasn't tired before the game. And I feel like this was the type of lethargic output that just has you sitting here like, okay, when is it going to be over? And then you realize you have 55 more minutes of this. But Lance, what's your initial thoughts on the game?
Well, I think that my initial reaction is that this game was a story about levels, right? Like one team is at the elite level, right? Like the Rams, I know John said that Stafford is slept on. The Rams in general, to me, are slept on in the NFC. They are a legit Super Bowl contending team. Like that team is playing as well as anybody in the National Football League. The quarterback, Stafford, my former teammate in Detroit, is elite, especially if you don't offer up any kind of pressure for him. He's going to pick you apart because he can make every single throw. He's smart. He knows how to manipulate defenses with his eyes. The arm strength can get any throw. Oh, and by the way, he's got an elite group of receivers and tight ends and backs to be able to deliver the football to.
Must be nice.
Flip the coin onto the other side. I'm not going to say the cupboard is bare over here, but one thing that sticks out to me, I guess maybe not first, but one of the things that sticks out to me is that we don't have the elite personnel that they have. We don't have the protection that they have. We don't have the running game that we have. And we definitely don't have the quarterback that can make all the throws like they have. So when you watch a game like that, and generally on the defensive side of the ball, you hope that you can take one thing away and make them have to do the other thing. Well, we didn't take anything away. They could run the football. They threw the football. They literally did whatever they wanted to do offensively. And then when we had the football, it was like we couldn't do anything outside of one drive the entire game. And honestly, for as poor as they played in the first half, to go into the half only down 10 points, I was like, hey,
yeah,
okay,
not bad.
We got something here. That didn't, that hey wasn't, hey, we can win this game. That hey was like, hey, we're close. In the game. Not close anywhere else, like John said, or like, no, that was Darren. You said, like, this team is so far away. But again, just like I said after last week's game, this is kind of where they need to be. I would love for the games to be more competitive, right? To show up and there to be some room for encouragement after these games. But the reality is, if we mess around and beat the Rams, that's only hurting us in the long run. So, like, sure, it's not pretty. Sure, it doesn't look like we're close. But we have to remember where this team and this organization is today. It is a rebuild. It is going to be ugly. There's not going to be anything pretty the next 9 games of this season. And that's just the necessary piece of the puzzle at this point, unfortunately, for all of us who cheer for the Saints.
And I think that, Lance, you bring up a good point about where the Saints are in their rebuild. This is just where they are. But I get this feeling it's worse than I thought it would be. I don't know if I just hadn't prepared myself for it. I don't know if because I didn't think they would be that good when we did our predictions at the top of the year. I don't think any of us got above 4 or 5 wins. I don't think anyone picked more than that. But it does.
I might have.
You know, John, you ever the optimist. You know, ever the optimist.
I thought they could get to 7 because of the opponents, but then they're proving me wrong. So yeah,
you know,
that they
it
look
just
like
feels worse.
garbage.
And I want to know how you guys feel about it. I don't know if it looks worse. I don't think the record is any worse than I thought it would be, but it does look like a even worse product than I thought they would put out in the first year of the Kellen Moore era.
I said this during the game. I tweeted this. I said, this game shows you exactly what the Saints need, but the problem is it's a CVS receipt worth of the needs that they have. And it's just not going to get fixed overnight. Like, you can't just say we're 1 or 2 players off or anything. You need almost like an entire overhaul. And the problem is, and what's so discouraging is you invest all these resources in like your offensive line, all these first round picks and all that. And it just doesn't come together. You know, you got all these different things. Like, I have to quote Lance here, but what are we doing with some of this stuff? Like, what are we doing here? You know, I think there's some encouraging things on this team. But the problem is those encouraging things aren't going to lift you from being bottom of the barrel to suddenly now we're a competitive team. You need a big draft next year. You need some pieces in free agency. I mean, but that's not even going to fix like part of the problem. You know, it's what's maddening is I think they got to be honest with themselves and say, okay, we're not competing for anything for a long time, because the MO of this team the past several years was, well, we're competing for the division. We're trying to load up. You get Carr, we can compete, push through the division and all this other stuff. And the reality is you just don't have the players. You didn't have the players back then. You don't have the players now. And so you got to look at everything. You got to really be honest with yourself. You got to start moving some pieces, move off for some pieces. And this has got to be a wake-up call from the front office, because I think it brings them into the limelight here, is the fact that what they've been doing has not been working. And the fact that they're getting worse in some aspects. Some people don't have a job for long when that happens. Look at Miami, what happened to Greer out there. I'm not saying that they should fire somebody or anything, but I'm just saying you got to take a long, hard look. And if I'm Gail Benson looking at this team, I might have some questions that need some big answers. Yeah. I guess my camera decided to come off too. So
yeah. Well, look, man. I mean, your camera was overwhelmed with the facts that you.
That's right. Yeah, my camera just was like, "Whoa, slow down."
Look, I'm gonna be glass half full guy here. Again, the rookie class. They're getting reps. Mm-hmm. And to me, if we have to find something good to talk about, it's those guys that are like Stutzman's getting more reps. Quincy Riley seems to be on his way. Devin Neal getting some carries after AK fumbles. These guys are I wouldn't say that Banks had the greatest day today. But again, a promising young prospect or a promising young player on that offensive line that I think is going to be a stalwart, a guy that's going to be around for a long time and will be really, really good. That to me is the most encouraging part. I mean, and I can't ever forget Ross's favorite guy in Jonas Sanker, who just flies around the field. And I'm good with the young guys coming in and being afforded a little bit of rope to make mistakes, because that's what you expect, right? I mean, obviously all the guys are going to make mistakes, but you should give a little more grace to the guys that are in their first year out there playing hard. And that's another thing that I think stands out to me is how hard that those young guys play. I mean, people want to blame Kellen Moore, and I get it. He's the head coach. He's the one that's in charge of getting them ready to play. But it's not like Kellen Moore came into one of the top rosters in football. Like this, and the decisions outside of the draft, like this free agent class. I mean, not pretty in my opinion. I mean, trading for Godshaw. Justin Reed, Brandon Cooks made a couple plays today, but like really nobody that has made an impact on this team. And I get it. Like there's a lot of holes, but again, all these guys are pros. So we got to figure out a way to at least be competitive while we're in this rebuild, because like you guys said, it is tough to watch. I mean, it's like those games are like watching paint dry. They're just so long, and it's not, the fortune is not going to change.
To Lance's point, though, I'm sorry, Darian. I can take rookies, even second-year players making mistakes. I can't continue to see Caesar get blown up on the offensive line and push back. Yeah. I can't continue to see guys like AK fumble, and I'm not calling AK out, but AK can't fumble, right? Like he just can't do that. And I know he's getting for extra yards, but he had the first down. Or Alante missing some tackles and stuff. Like these are guys that are in their fourth years and stuff. You can't, or Jawan catch the pass. That was a great play by the defender, but you got to catch the pass. And so
it's a drop.
That's right.
It's a drop.
Lance Moore, the receiver, says it's a drop. So we're going to go.
I mean, look, we can't lower the bar because the defender happened to be there after he was bobbling the ball. Just catch it the first time.
That's true. That's true. But that's the thing is they got too many of these guys that they're relying on and counting on. Right. That are not even playing up to par or standard, like not even whatever level of standard it is. It's like way down here, not anywhere close to where it used to be.
Yeah, you guys talk about levels. One team is in the running for the first overall pick. The other team is in the running for the first seed in the NFC.
Yep.
And if you watch the game, if you put somebody who was just waking up, didn't see any of the season and said which team is better, there's no one who would watch that game and say, I don't know. There's no one who would watch that game and say it's close.
Oh, they just had an off week. No, man, this has been every week.
You can sit there and you can tell this team is not anywhere near being close. Like it's not close. It's not near being close. That's where I feel like the Saints are right now, because it's hard to put a finger on what it is they do well. And Alvin fumbling, right? Last week you had plays that turn into turnovers via Shaheed and via Olave, right? Like you have these guys, you have Ruiz, who I don't know if I should really lump them in here, but we're just talking about guys who've been around for a little bit. You have guys who are not the youth. You have guys who are not the rookies or second-year players. They should have these things slightly figured out, and it feels like we're seeing mistakes from them too frequently. It may not be a fumble from Alvin all the time. Sometimes it may look like poor pass protection. Right. Yeah. Sometimes it may look like that. It's not always a drop by Jawan. It's not always Olave turning things into turnovers. Like sometimes it's something every time. It is not always the same people. It does tend to be some people recurring, but it's not always the same thing, but it's always something. And that is the part that's frustrating. And I think that whether it's lack of discipline, whether it's lack of personnel, whether it's lack of play calling. I just think that there's a lot of things that go wrong, and it's hard to tell somebody to be understanding about the Saints.
You want to see light at the end of the tunnel, and the problem is you're not. And the thing is, they stressed fixing the trenches. The trenches look bad on both sides. Like, it's not any better than what it was last year. I mean, Kyron Williams, over 100 yards. Blake Corum, average over 4.5 yards a carry. I mean, it's just, there's no pass rush. There's no blocking. Like, you can see every Rams runner is just getting 3-4 yards before they get in contact. And that's
correct.
That's they can say scheme, but I remember Justin Reed talked about it several weeks ago. It comes down to execution, and they're not executing anything. It feels like it's just rough. rough.
Cook, John. That's what Angel Morales said, Cook. And quite frankly, I agree. This is what he's doing now. One thing he said was light at the end of the tunnel. It looked like there may have been light for a second, and then it was quickly dashed. Let's get into that as we continue with the Saints Squad show.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
As we continue rolling with the Saints Squad show, I'm here with John, here with Lance, and we're all waiting to get on our Pelotons because we need something to work out that anger. But we still have a show to do. We still have people to feed. Okay, let's get into this game. Now, the story was Tyler Shough, and somehow we've gone 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes, and not really discussed what he did. Do you feel like the rookie quarterback in his first game lived up to any expectations you had of him, if you had any? And I'll start off with Lance.
I feel like he was okay, honestly. I wouldn't say he was horrible. I would say he looked a little timid early, right? There was the pass rush was getting to him, and he was trying to get the ball out quickly. And it kind of sort of made me think about a quarterback that once wore the black and gold not too long ago. When pressure started getting in his face, he was antsy, and those feet started moving real quick, and that ball kind of came out of there. But he did seem to settle in a little bit. He made some good throws. He made some good decisions. I think one thing that's going to help him a lot more as the season goes along is using his athleticism. When the rush comes, he's good with his legs, man. He can evade some of that stuff and get positive, yardage on some of those plays. Not to say that he's not gonna, he should never get sacked. Like, that's a normal part of playing quarterback. And honestly, I don't even hate the interception. He's just trying to make a play. And right. Really at that point in the game, it's not catastrophic. I mean, you'd love to take care of the football better, but I would say I was encouraged watching him continue to play and continue to fight. And, his guys kind of let him down a few times out there, which, a rookie quarterback, you got to help him out, man. And was he better than Spencer Rattler? I don't know. Like, it was his first game. So I think, you got to give him some time. And honestly, Kellen Moore said he's going to play the rest of the year. So it doesn't matter whether he's better than Spencer Rattler today or not. It's just something that they're going to have to evaluate at the end of the season. I guess we as well will evaluate that. But honestly, I had low expectations. I didn't think he would look as good as he looked today. I thought there would be a major drop-off from Spencer Rattler to him. And I don't think there was, honestly. I don't know that he played his best game, or I don't know that today exceeded Spencer Rattler's best game, but I will say that he looked somewhat the part today. I think the guys around him have to play better. I think the play calling around him could be better. But I don't think for at all that he was awful today. I think he did a decent job.
Yeah, and I think that what you're saying should be the bar for where he should have been today. Right? Well, maybe the bar is different in a month, in 3 weeks. Right. But we talked about pretty much all week, no matter where you looked, wherever you got your Saints coverage, I can promise you heard this was not an advantageous position for Shough to come into. Like you heard that no matter what. So when you come into Sunday, all I'm looking for is flashes. I'm not looking for him to do it consistently. If he did, I think we'd be overjoyed. We'd probably be talking about him in a much more glowing tone if he had multiple really good moments. But we just wanted a flash here, a flash there, a throw on the run or stepping up, showing some mobility and throwing the ball to Olave on a drive that ends up resulting in a touchdown. That's all that I think anybody should have wanted from him in a game where we knew that going against a pass rush like Los Angeles was going to challenge what was his biggest weakness on many scouting reports, and that's his ability to handle pressure. We knew it was going to be those 2.0 moments like Lance referenced earlier, but you saw some good. And in your first start, second round quarterback, I'm taking that. Lance, excuse me, John, what's your thoughts on Shough's debut?
Yeah, I mean, struggled early on, right? You got the 3 and outs, and you're kind of getting used to it. Your first real NFL, your first NFL start. You were trying to execute the game plan, first 15 or scripted, all that other good stuff, right? But let's look at the numbers. He finished 15 and 24, 62.5% completion percentage. You're going to take that, 176 yards, 11.7 yards per pass completion. That's not checked down, so that's good, right? Like, I think that's a positive. He was only sacked once. Yes, he had the interception. He did get out of pressure a couple of times. I did like him, doing that and such. I think he threw some ropes. I think he had some really nice passes to Olave, to Shaheed, the one to Jawan. I mean, the touchdown, wasn't really bad. Like, I just feel like you look at his day and you come away and say it wasn't bad. It wasn't good and great, I'd say at some point, right. But I think it was probably on par for his first outing. Now, like, here's the thing, and I said this early on in the season with the Saints team, with Spencer and all this other stuff, the bar is here. Now, what does he do next week against Carolina? Because that's really what's going to be my telltale is, does he improve? Does he regress? Or does he stay the same? And I think that's where everybody needs to keep their head is like, here's where you've got a baseline for Tyler Shough. Now let's see what he does next week against the Panthers.
Yeah, I also think, sorry, Darren. I also think we forgot to mention he did what he did today was 0 running game.
None.
14 carries, and Taysom Hill had 29 of them on one of his carries.
On one carry.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yards. Like, so, and that is definitely a reflection of what our offensive line has been doing this entire season. Not being able to run the football, and you have a rookie quarterback in his first start as a recipe for disaster. And, there's no wonder, the offense performed the way that it did today.
Yeah, and I actually was going to throw back real quick. I was going to throw back to Lance because I wanted to hear, you said something about the play calling not being helpful for him. I just wanted you to expand on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's ways that you can get easy completions for a young quarterback in a game without it having to be these crazy dropbacks, these crazy play fit. Like, you can move the pocket with a guy that seems to be pretty good throwing on the run. Like, I just think they can make things easier for him from time to time and to help settle him in a little bit, as opposed to, hey, we're just going to go out here with the game plan and be calling plays, and hopefully he goes out there and executes. Like, you've got deficiencies on the offensive line. You're playing against an elite pass rush. Just doing straight drop backs and praying that your receivers are going to win on the outside before the pass rush gets there doesn't seem like it's the smartest thing to do to me. Yeah, I'm not going to say that Kellen Moore is a terrible play caller, but I do think that there are ways, and he should know, ways that can simplify things to make it a little bit simpler to get him into the game earlier. And even as the game goes along, I just think there's ways that coordinators can help a young quarterback out, especially with guys with catch and run ability on the outside. I mean, I don't even know how many screens did we call. I remember there was one early to Shaheed that got knocked down, but like it's silly to me that we don't utilize those types of plays regularly. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I thought was interesting about the play call. 3 straight Taysom Hill quarterback snaps early in the game that took Shough off the field. It was noteworthy. The one turned into the 29-yard run that you mentioned earlier, John, and then 2 more snaps with him at quarterback. I thought that was strange so early in the first start. I was like, man, I don't think it's going to get cold in 3 snaps, but you did take him off the field 3 consecutive plays. It just stood out to me. But
put him back on for a 3rd and 8.
In a 3rd and long, right? It's like you didn't succeed on first and 10, and then you went right back at it.
Second down fast.
Like it didn't feel like the best sequence to set up Shough. So they had a good plan for the 2-minute drill, though.
Well,
they got that done.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, and I always remember, like, with teams who used to play the Saints defense, one of the biggest things they stress is getting the ball out quick because of their pass rush and stuff. Now, this is years ago, y'all. I'm not talking about like now, but
yeah, we know.
That's the thing is where I would look at even for the Rams today is their pass rush. You knew coming in, we talked about it on the show, Byron Young, Jared Verse, Terrors, and the guys on the inside. So why don't you have, like, I like the fact that Shough took some shots, right? He had the shot to Shaheed, but why didn't you have some basic routes, like some simple stuff, some 4 to 5 yards, like take the dink and dunk if you can with a young guy like that, knowing the Rams pressure and knowing some of the deficiencies on the offensive line. I just don't know why. And look, a performance like that today, they wouldn't have beat the Jets. They wouldn't have beat the Panthers. I mean, they're really pushing the barrel for the bottom of the barrel right now, like of how bad they are.
Panthers are 5-3. John,
did I say Panthers? I'm sorry. I meant to say, did I say Panthers? Titans. I meant the Jets and the Titans. Titans are Panthers. Panthers, okay. Panthers are going to beat them next week, too, in Charlotte.
Yeah, no, like that. The Panthers are I don't know if the Panthers are better than I thought they were, or if the Packers are worse than I thought they were after the beginning of the season.
Packers
probably a little bit in the middle.
They're a little sus. Yeah, I agree.
Right,
but the Panthers, man, look, they're a team that was ascending last year, and now it looks like they figured it out. They got a legit run game with Rico Dowdle. I mean, they take pressure off of Bryce Young. They've got a good defense. They can do what they want, kind of, and that's the thing. And the beauty of them is when you have certain elements that the Saints just don't have on their team, then it makes life a little bit easier, and they just don't have that.
Yeah, and I think that maybe that's something that the Saints should look to. We talk about divisional foes as rivals and whatnot, but that's something the Saints should look to within their process of this is year 3 for Bryce, right? Year 2 for Canales. It'll be maybe year 2 for Tyler Shough. I think the year will determine whether next year we're talking about Shough or not, but it'll be year 2 for Kellen Moore. You got to start building some infrastructure around that team. Bryce had his struggles his first year. He had a lot of struggles his first year. Got benched 2 games into his second season, right? Like there were bumps in the road for him. And then they started to build a team around him. They have some guys on the defensive side of the ball. They have a running game with Dowdle, like you mentioned. They have Hubbard on the team. Like they have McMillan that they drafted. They started filling in with a lot of talent around the quarterback. And I think that if you're a Saints fan, the Panthers may be the closest thing you could look to on how to start building this thing up early on.
Maybe it just takes the front office to be able to see that and admit it too.
Correct.
I don't know, y'all.
You also have a quarterback that was drafted first overall compared to a quarterback that was a reach in the second round. And I'm not saying that Tyler Shough, is going to be trash, but
nobody knows. Like, one game.
Bryce Young has taken a little bit of time, but has figured things out. And again, them being able to run the football the way that they do, it helps their defense. It helps the quarterback. It helps the play caller. I mean, like that to me is the biggest reason why Carolina is playing and winning games the way that they are now. And for us next week, it could get scary if all these teams aren't are coming, to play against the Saints, and the Saints aren't touching ball carriers until they're 3, 4, and 5 yards down the field.
Yeah, Rick O'Dowd's
It
going to
could
have
get
like a
ugly
Dallas style
again.
performance. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, I know this segment was on to be talking about Tyler Shough, but Shough could have been great today, and it still wouldn't have mattered.
So much revolves around his support cast, and you don't have the support cast. What is he supposed to do? You had the ball for 16 minutes and 7 seconds. What is he supposed to do? Spin crap into goal? Like, come on, bro.
Point. He's 16 minutes of action. And we were coming on here, and Lance was like, I don't think I've ever seen that. Like, in your first start, you don't even really get a chance to truly get a rhythm. You have 16 minutes of offensive possession. Not a lot of opportunities. There was a lot of bad things in that opportunity around him, but it's just it was a rough showing for the Saints offense. I would still like to see Devin Neal. I still would like to see more of him. I want to see him get more carries. I want to see him get carries earlier. That's a guy that I'll beat the table for, genuinely. I think you want to know what you have in him, because it's becoming quite clear you're going to have to invest in running back. You're going to have to invest in a lot. And I'll say this before we move into the defense. John brought up a great point about the CVS receipt and what it is that the Saints need. It's a long list now. It's a very long list. And it's at the point that when we get to the offseason, you're going to have conversations about you can't address all of it. And what are you going to roll over into next year? What's the priority list? It's a long list, but what goes in what order? What's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Like, it's a long list. All right.
And I don't think everybody agrees on what the tops are going to be. That's the problem. I think, like, when you have too many people, too many Indians, or not enough Chiefs, and too many Indians is the expression they say up in the front office. Like, you got four GM candidates. I'm just saying, 5 maybe. Yeah.
So it's going to be ugly. But speaking of ugly,
replacing one with another one that's there doesn't seem to make the greatest amount of sense to me. But hey, who am I? I'm just an agent out here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I know we get to break.
There you go. We can actually let's carry
Kai Harley. I mean, Kai Harley's there. Yeah, go for it.
I think carry that thought process because it makes sense. The idea of replacing somebody with similar thought process with another person that you are, it just feels like the recipe for more similar outcomes. But let's get into that as we continue with the Saints Squad show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back along with the NFL, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game, and if you missed the start of the Saints game, it may be over by the time you get to it. But if you missed the start of a game and want to ride a hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. And when you look at the Saints, some of the bets that were in today's game were Tyler Shough, 194.5 passing yards, Alvin Kamara, 59.5 rushing and receiving yards combined, or Jawan, 3.5 receptions on the day. Unfortunately, I wish I had the drop. Unfortunately, Saints didn't reach any of those, but it keeps the game exciting when games get lethargic like today did. Maybe you can guess if Shough will hit that passing number or if Olave will score a touchdown. They have all of these things. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. As we continue rolling with the Saints Squad show, we're going to break down something that we talked about very briefly before getting into the defense, and that is the idea of replacement. And I know this is something that's going to be ongoing, but the truth of the matter is I didn't want to step on this. I didn't want to skip over it because we're already talking about the draft. We're already talking about overhaul. It's healthy, and I do believe that there is a fear that the Saints will make a change because you need a change, but then they'll just move over to something that's very similar. And I think all three of us agree that that would be detrimental to the team in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, if you look at the front office, like the guys, right? It's Mickey, and then you got Kai Harley. Kai Harley's more like the numbers guy, right? But he's also very smart, intelligent. I would love to see Kai Harley in a GM role. But helping Mickey, you got Jeff Ireland, who's also an assistant GM. You also brought in Randy Mueller, and you also brought in Thomas Dimitrov. That's what I'm saying. Like, going back to the last segment, you've got all this GM experience, but who's making the decisions? How much input is other people having? And if Mickey does go or something like that, then are we just opening the door for him just not making decisions, and he's going to have somebody that's there that are making the decisions? That makes sense. But it's kind of bizarre because I don't know other teams that do a lot of what the Saints are doing right now with that aspect in the front office. And at some point, somebody's got to fall on the sword, and it's got to be somebody's fault, right? Are you going to blame the draft? Are you going to blame the personnel decisions, or what are you going to go with? Because if I'm a fan, I kind of want to know, like, who's going to be actually held accountable for the team's consistent failures at other positions, this position, free agency, all this other stuff. Somebody's got to answer for it, right? It's not the fans.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
and you mentioned moving on. It took a big talk about the head coaching was moving on from a past era, not try to hold on to something. Well, when it comes to GMs, it's not working. You realize it's not working. Let's not hold on to an era that has been inefficient. Let's just pull out multiple swords if you have to, because I think that if you're going to move on, it's a lot. It's just pull the guillotine out, right? Like, that's just what it is. It's over because a lot of people are gonna have to line up, and it's gonna be heads rolling for this. But Lance, I'll get what you have on this topic, and then we'll go on to the defense.
Yeah, I'll be quick, and obviously I have to work with these guys in a different capacity, so I'm not gonna sit here and
don't incriminate yourself. You're good.
And kill everybody. But I'm with John in the sense that I don't understand the dynamic to which is what's going on in that building. Like, why do we need 4 GMs? Like, and what could they all possibly be doing? I know Mickey Loomis is the GM, but having 3 other former GMs in your building, like what are they doing? Are they dividing and conquering as far as like the scouting department go? Like, I'm just curious because I don't believe that this is happening anywhere else. And again, we're smart enough to realize that the overhaul cannot happen during a season, right? Like, you can't have roster turnover during a season. You can, cut guys and sign guys and try guys out, and you can have some roster shuffle, but you can't completely overhaul a roster during a season. But I am curious if this continues, what the repercussions will be at the end of the season, and who is the person responsible for pulling that trigger. Is it Gale? Is it Dennis Lauscha? Is Mickey going to say, you know what, I'm good, I'll stick around, but maybe we'll give the reins to someone else? I don't know. The jury's still out. But again, I can't understand because I'm not in the building. But again, I just think that it's strange that there are 4 GMs in the same building. What are they all doing? That's just my question.
I don't know, but let's move into this defense. And it felt like the Rams, whatever they wanted, they got. Didn't matter what it was. No. If they wanted to go pass in the early portion of the game, then you know what? They tore up the Saints cornerbacks. If they wanted to run, which I feel like they really leaned into, I mean, that first drive of the third quarter, if there was any momentum that was had from the closing of the first half for the Saints, the Rams came and just absolutely evaporated that with a near 10-minute drive, working on the ground, came back after the AK fumble, ran on the ground. Whatever they wanted, they took. And that was kind of the story defensively. It wasn't a lot of bright spots. It was a couple of bright moments. But, John, defense, I'm just gonna put it out there because I don't know where you could take it.
I mean, Sean McVay masterclass, I guess to say. And again, tip the cap to Matthew Stafford because he's playing extremely well. Like, it would not surprise me at this point if the Rams and Eagles are probably the teams in the championship right now. I know Detroit's there. I know there's other teams that are in this mix, but the Rams are just playing too well. And that's a great example. And I get it. The Saints aren't that good, but this is Sean McVay. He knows how to do this. Looking at the drives, a 12-play drive, 11-play drive, 11-play drive, 16-play drive, 10-play drive. And you got touchdowns on all of those long drives. And then the one that you had a 3-play drive, you got a touchdown on at 65 yards. I mean, it was just ugly. I mean, it was just ugly on defense. And the fact is, You got 2 sacks. I thought there was one play, obviously Chase Young made. I'm like, oh man, you just bully 1-on-1, get a sack. Good for Chase. Jonah Williams got the other sack. That was later. And then not so great challenge, I think, on the fumble or whatever with Stafford. But look, defensively, and I'll tell you this too: Justin Reed, 13 tackles, led the way. Damari also had 13 tackles. If your safety has the most tackles in a game, that's usually not a good sign. I'm just going to be honest. If the safety is the one that's leading you in tackles, that's not a good sign on where your defense is at. And so still problems with the run game. It doesn't matter who they put in, what kind of front they do. They're missing tackles. They're not getting pressure. They're not able to finish plays, and they're making mental mistakes. They can't get off the field on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11. I mean, this is just hard. I mean, they're 7-14 on against the Rams today, 50%. It felt like it was even worse. But like you said, whatever the Rams wanted to do today, it was okay. And any offense that could have went up against them today on this particular day against the Saints probably would have the same success. I mean, like any of the worst offenses. It's just tough because Brandon Staley was brought in here to shore up a lot of things. Tackling was supposed to be one of the things. Switching to the 3-4 scheme was supposed to yield some different things. And I just feels like the defense continues to just take a regression, a back seat. And I just don't know what more you could do at this point, because you're getting looks at Danny Stutzman and Quincy Riley and you're getting Jonas Sanker involved and such. It's just something's got to give. And I feel like at this point, whether it's players, personnel, execution, it's all jacked up right now.
Yeah, look, a team that wants to run the football like the Rams, if you don't like put up any type of a fight, like, so they could run the ball however often and however much they wanted to, and they were successful. Very few tackles for loss that I can remember off the top of my head. But then you add to that, outside of the Chase Young sack, no pass rush. So Stafford is literally just sitting back there clean, delivering the football. Just all bad. There he is.
I heard my exact thought. All bad. Just all bad.
All bad.
Just all bad. just all bad.
We have Ross Jackson, host of Locked On Saints, with us, blessing us from SoFi. Any words of encouragement? We need them.
Nah, bro, they ain't no word there.
I don't think I would say any words of encouragement, but I will say this: if y'all get a chance, go back and watch Justin Reed's media availability. If there's anybody on this team that has been the most honest about where they are and what needs to be done about it, outside of Alvin Kamara so far, it's been Justin Reed. Justin Reed talked all about accountability, explained what that actually is, by the way, didn't just throw the word around, did a really good job kind of outlining like where this team is and the work that needs to be done. Like, I don't know, it was really good. Like, I felt like I was listening to somebody talk that actually understood where this team has been so far this year. Instead of saying that they're close, instead of saying that like that they're building something or whatever, it felt like he was really, really honest about where the Saints were, and you know why they'll probably be here for a little while longer.
Well, the dude's a winner. He's won a Super Bowl. And
right.
Ross, you probably remember this a couple years ago when we were in Pittsburgh, that Tyron just admitted flat out, it's like, we're just not a good football team. And so it's just like, I mean, be honest with yourself. Y'all aren't close to doing anything. You can't execute the fundamentals, accountability, execution. He said a couple of weeks ago, I said this early in the show, that it wasn't a scheme thing, it's an execution thing. So really interested to see if there's any type of changes. What was the locker room mood like? I mean, it's probably crappy, but
yeah, really, really frustrated. I mean, everybody's kind of in that same place. Like, they know that this was a game that was, or a performance that was disappointing. And the thing that's crazy about it is that it was a performance that was disappointing, even though expectations were already low going into it, right? Like, no one expected this team to come in here to SoFi and win, but I don't think that it's become one of those things to where, like, the team's not expected to win, but then they come out here and they lose in a way that makes you go, oh, but not like that though. You know, like,
that's exactly what
it's rough.
That's exactly what I said. And you know what? As we move forward, I want to ask if either Kellen or anybody spoke about that time of possession, because that's something that we talked about heavily, and I want to see if there was any conversation around it as we continue with the squad show. Today's episode is brought to you by Supply House. Whether you're constructing a roster or constructing something around your house, it's time to go to Supply House because they have everything that you could possibly need around HVAC, electricity, everything. So when the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today. See parts on your doorstep tomorrow. It's that quick. And over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items are available from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keeps you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Maybe you need parts fast. Delivery is instantaneous. The part finder and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. And you need to join the Trade Master program, because today you can score some perks such as priority shipping, lower prices. Who doesn't love lower prices? And dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHNFL for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. Now, as we open back up with the Saints squad show, we're going to get into who is most likely to trade. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is the idea of time of possession. John, Lance, myself, we've all talked about it. As Ross looks around for the answers to the questions about how the Saints only held 16 minutes of the football, I'll ask you, all right? He looks like that, what's that meme? I want to call him Krusty Krabs, Mr. Krabs meme, where he's all confused and circling days. That's my whole
feeling. Just discombobulated for days.
Yeah,
you look like Tyrone Bigham's out there.
Yeah, what's going on? Were there any answers about how the Saints only held the ball 16 minutes, or anything that you heard in the locker room on that?
Yeah, I mean, no, it was all about how the Rams performed. Like, that was the Rams dominating their opponent. You're good. That was the Rams dominating their opponent. Like, you don't go into a game and do things on your side that are, going to be impacting that. Like, if you go in and you're not performing, or you're being outperformed, which is really what happened here, like, that's going to happen. The Saints possessed the ball for 16 minutes and 7 seconds. I don't think I've ever seen one that low. I think it was Nick Underhill tweeted out that it was like the 13th lowest in NFL history or something like that. Like, that's really, that's really, really rough. Like, Lance, have you ever been on an offense that possessed the ball 16 minutes in a game?
No,
he's shaking his head. No.
I'd be curious to see if the 12 other games that were lower, how modern those games were. Right? Like, it just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness.
I needed to stop somewhere before on my way home, and just felt like I wanted to make sure people knew I didn't forget about them today.
That's really nice.
Thank you, Dylan. I didn't tell them. I should have told them. Is the event over?
Yeah.
No.
It's been over.
Is the Pelican season over too?
Yes.
Sorry.
Mathematically, no. Emotionally, yes.
Yeah.
Last time we saw Ross, there was a firing. Yeah, I'm just saying. It was a firing last time we saw him.
Hey, Dylan, don't worry. There's only 76 games left.
Well, at least I didn't pay for a plane ticket to Los Angeles for it.
Yeah, I might not be in Charlotte next weekend. We'll see how it goes.
Oh gosh. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not trading any of you guys, but there may be some people who are getting traded from New Orleans. Is there anyone? First off, I want to go around. Does anybody feel like the Saints are just going to be dormant? Like, is that a gut feeling that the Saints aren't going to move? Is there anyone who feels that way?
You can't be dormant.
I think that they will be, because I don't think the interest is going to be there from other teams.
That's what I was going to say. You have to be good. Players have to be good enough for other teams to want them to be able to execute a trade.
Yeah, like that's my big thing, is like maybe there's somebody you can move for like a day 3 pick or something like that. But I don't know if the league interest is going to align with what the Saints are going to be willing to, like the players that the Saints are going to be willing to move. That's my big concern.
I'm
not saying it should be that way. I'm just saying, like, I'm afraid that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are guys that have some level of value, and I think there are playoff-worthy teams who will be looking at the Saints as sellers at the time of the trade deadline come this week. And if I'm the Saints, like, I'm long-term view here, right? Like, can we move off of some of these guys who may be fan favorites, right? But we can get some assets for them because this is a long-term thing. This is not, hey, we're going to lose this guy for the rest of the year. We're going to lose more games because this guy is gone. No, we're going to lose more games because we're going to lose more games. So like, I would imagine that there will be plenty of teams calling the Saints on, probably just off the top of my head, 6 or 7 guys on this team. And I'm not saying they should trade them all, but why not? Get your young guys more reps and do what you got to do to stockpile some of those draft picks and load up on ammunition. Like that's what a team in a rebuild should do. Not hold on to all their players, extend all of their players that are close to contract extension time. Like we need to have money and assets. Like that to me should be the plan. And hopefully they're not stubborn and set in their ways of the past and not really wanting to move off of guys.
Yeah.
And
I would say, okay, go ahead.
I got to jump. I'll see you on a sec.
All right, buddy. See you. I would just say this, that if you can get, let's say, a third, I don't know if you're going to get a third for Shaheed, but if you get a fourth, I feel okay about that. And you do get the comp pick for a Debo, and that's maybe a fourth as well. You got Quincy Riley and Danny Stutzman this year. If they could get 2 players of that caliber in the draft, I'd feel good about that. But I think that's the conversations you need to have is that, okay, if we're going to trade Shaheed, who's going to be the guy that steps up? Because they didn't use Devon Bailey maybe much at all today, right? So, and Trey Palmer's on IR. You got Jalen Polk, who they traded for, that you're going to see next year, hopefully. So, I mean, there are some moves there that they made that could be interesting, but I'm trying to get some picks, man. I really am trying to get some of that 3rd and 4th round picks. I don't care about the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Get some 4th rounders or above for whatever you can for some of these players. And Shaheed seems to be the easiest target right now for the Saints to trade for a team that really needs to help and get an additional offensive weapon.
Yeah, you talk about Shaheed. I don't necessarily know if I saw him having this type of season through 9 games. Do you guys feel like his stock has been hurt by the year he's had so far? Like, I know the Saints won a 3, and maybe at the beginning of the season, maybe they could have gotten a 3, but maybe they don't now. Where are you guys looking at the value for a guy like Shaheed and anyone else that you guys think? Because Lance named, he said maybe like 6 to 7 players could get drafted. I mean, could get traded. Just where's the value for those players?
It was like him and Carl Granderson were the 2 guys that like felt like the Saints probably want to get as much value on right now while they can. But you need those players, like I said earlier, you need those players to perform for other teams to be able to, yeah, we'll trade a 3rd round pick. Because like on paper, Rashid Shaheed seems nice to add to an offense, but now he hasn't been helped much by the quarterback play. But what has he done for an NFL team this year to be like, okay, we really have to like go out there. We're not a playoff team without Rashid Shaheed on our roster. And the same thing with Carl Granderson.
Yeah, I don't think it's we're a Rashid Shaheed away from the playoffs. I think it's a playoff team that's a receiver away from potentially winning a Super Bowl. That to me is why a team would trade for him or really any of the players on our roster. I don't think teams are giving up assets to maybe become a playoff team. I think the writing would be on the wall for the teams who are trading for guys. And honestly, I don't think Shaheed has played poorly. It's just a lack of opportunity. 2, the quarterback and offensive line play hasn't lended itself to him having a breakout type season. And he hasn't been as highly targeted in general as I would want my number 2 receiver to be targeted. And I don't feel like all of those things are his fault. I think he's probably been the most consistent receiver in this offense this season, right? As far as like the drops, the turnovers and stuff like that. He's had his moments like everybody else has, but I think he's valuable. And if I were in the front office there, I think I'd be more willing to trade Olave, honestly, than I would Shaheed. Just probably because of where the contract thing is going to be. I like Olave. I think he's a good player. I think he's an ascending player. But where the Saints are right now, they can't afford to pay a receiver $30 million a year.
No,
they just can't do it.
No way.
And I don't think Rashid Shaheed will get that type of a contract offer, right? I think Olave, where he is, he was a first-round draft pick. He's had multiple 1,000-yard seasons. He's going to be the one that's going to command close to that number. And I just, if I'm the Saints, I'm keeping Shaheed and looking to move Olave if I'm going to move off of one of those guys.
I view it very similar to you, Lance. Honestly, I look at the future and what you could be planning. I don't think the Saints look at it like we do, be honest with you. I think, especially if you believe some of the reports, it seemed like the Saints want to hold on to Olave and they want to deal Shaheed. But I personally agree. I would go with the guy who's going to be a lower financial burden on you. I don't know. I don't know how far in the future I view Olave's tenure in New Orleans at the number that I think Olave is probably going to try to command. But John, I didn't want to interrupt your flow. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
On the idea of stock rising, stock dropping, stock staying stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing, Olave's got the 5th-year option, so there's not necessarily a pressing need to figure out the deal yet because you can still get him for what I think 16 mil is what it's going to be for next year. But I would say on if I'm a team and I have a pro scouting department, and but every team does, right? I'm looking at what Shaheed has done, over the past several years. So I'm not totally basing my decision to trade for him off of what I've seen this year, right? I guess that's where I'd kind of go with that. I think Olave would be somebody that you could look at trading as well. I just don't know. It sounds like they want to keep him more from everything I've heard, seen, been told, and all that. Shaheed, it seems like the guy that you'd move. Now on this pod on Wednesday, I floated out Alante's name as a guy who could be on the move potentially. If I'm the Lions, they've had problems with their corners staying healthy. That could be something to watch. I don't know if they're going to get, again, a prime pick for him. I know Brandon Staley loves him in his defense, but you just got to kind of weigh that out. Is the move now to move these guys and have a plan there, and then is the asset that you're going to get in return going to move the needle anymore for the rebuild? Or is that particular player, if they stay and you say re-sign them or anything like that, are they going to help you move the needle better than what a draft pick would be? And then, I think that's just got to be an honest question and nobody knows. That's the thing, is you can't have a crystal ball. You can't determine it and all that other stuff. So, but it's a tough situation to be in, and I think the Saints will make a couple of deals. I don't think some of them will be as set the world on fire. And again, everybody overvalues the players on this team. Like, I'd be really shocked if they get Shaheed for a third. I feel like if they got a third for Shaheed, they're sending something back too, because that's just the way the Saints are.
The way the Saints are, do we trust them not to get fleeced? Do we trust them to make the deal? Do we trust them to go? I was going to ask it, but it's important. Like, we talk about this. The Saints have a value system in their head. And I, from the outside looking in, have always felt like they've been not on the same page with a lot of people, whether that's being higher or whether that's being lower. I don't know if I trust the Saints to make the right trade and get the value, or just say, all right, you're not giving us a 3 or you're not giving us a 4. We're just done. And I think that's a part of this conversation as well. I'll close out with this thought. I find it truly to be a shame that Dylan spoke on this first, and it's the only time that Carl Granderson was mentioned, because at one point he felt like the hottest trade asset in New Orleans. It was him, and then Olave. It was right there where Granderson started this season on fire, and it felt like he just tapered off. And ever since they said, you could trade him to San Francisco, who did just lose another edge rusher to an ACL, by the way, today.
Yep.
So I'm not going to completely rule it out, but it does just feel like, man, once upon a time, this was a guy who you felt like you could get a day 2 pick for. And now I'm just not sure. So we'll be back on Wednesday, right? Because by that time, there's no more speculation. And aren't we tired of speculating? We're ready to get straight to it. But thank you for listening to the Saint Squad Show. Check out me, Ross, John, Lance, Dylan, all on our social medias for the latest. And we'll be back at this same spot on Wednesday to talk about the trade deadline and the upcoming game against Carolina. Will it be better than today? I think we all certainly hope so. But who shucking knows?